Alright, and welcome to Solving with Rational Exponents. For problem number 1, we want to solve the equation below for x. Now notice it says 2x to the negative 3 over 2, so 2x to the negative 3 over 2 minus 124 is equal to, but notice 8 to the 2/3 contains no variable. 8 to the 2/3 is something that we can simplify using the tools that we learned in the previous video. So, when I go to write my 8, I know that the 3 is in the denominator, so I want to take the cube root of 8, and after I take the cube root of 8, I look to the numerator where I see that 2, and I know that I'll be squaring it. Now, if you have to use a calculator, you can, but the cube root of 8 is actually 2. Okay, and so now we're going to square 2, and 2 squared is 4. So this original equation, when it says equal to 8 to the 2/3, it really means equal 4. From here, we can go ahead and begin solving. What do you want to get rid of first? Do you want to get rid of the 2, the exponent, the negative 3 over 2, or the minus 124? Well, we always want to get rid of our addition or subtraction first, and so in this case, since we are subtracting 124, we can get rid of that by adding 124, so plus 124. At this point, that zeroes out, and we have 2x to the negative 3 over 2 is equal to 4 plus 124 is, of course, 128. Now from here, what do we want to get rid of next? Do we want to get rid of our multiplication or our exponent? And if you said multiplication, you're correct. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is, of course, to divide by 2. And so we're going to get x to the negative 3 over 2 is equal to 128 divided by 2 is 64. Now, let me go ahead and clean this up just real quick. We'll erase this over here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so think about this. You have x to the negative 3 over 2 equals 64. Well, what we want to do is we actually want to raise the left side up to a power. And you always, to get rid of a rational exponent, you raise it up to its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 3 over 2 is in fact negative 2 over 3. What I do to the left, of course, I do to the right. I raise it to the negative 2 over 3. And those reciprocal exponents actually reduce to 1. So it's not that they cancel out, but it's equal to x because it's x to the 1. Now at this point, we want to break this 64 up into 3 distinct parts. We always start with our denominator. So we can write the cube root of 64.
Students are dismissed.
Sorry for that interruption. So we'll take the cube root of 64. And then we look at the 2. And we'll take the square root. And then notice, don't forget about this minus sign. We're going to raise everything to the negative 1. So we're going to perform 3 operations very quickly. The first thing we say is, hey, what is the cube root of 64? And if you'll recall, that is 4. You could use a calculator if you need to. So now we have 4 squared to the negative 1. Well, what's 4 squared? We know that 4 squared is equal to 16 to the negative 1. Don't forget about that negative 1. And remember, anytime you have a whole number to the power of negative 1, it's really a fraction where that whole number is in the denominator. So our answer here is 1/16. All right, go ahead and finish taking notes. Let's move on to our second example. Okay, for example 2, we have 4x to the 2/3 minus 943 is equal to 729 to the 2/3. Okay, the first thing we want to simplify is this problem on the right, using the tools from our level 2 video. So notice the denominator is a 3, so we want to take the cube root of 729. And the numerator is a 2, so we're going to square that. Now once again, you could use a calculator, and the cube root of 729 is 9, and now we have 9 squared. And 9 squared is equal to 81. So we can say that our formula is our equation is 4x to the 2 over 3 minus 943, and that's equal, of course, to 81. Now from here, we're just doing basic solving. We get rid of our subtraction by adding 943 to both sides, so plus 943. And this is actually equal to 1024. And on the left side, we have 4x to the 2 over 3. Now our next question is, what do we get rid of first, the 4 or the 2/3? Do we get rid of our multiplication or the exponent? And let's always get rid of our multiplication first. So we'll divide both sides by 4. And we'll have x to the 2 over 3 is in fact equal to 1024 divided by 4 should be 256. I believe. Okay, from here, let's take it back to our last little problem. How in the world do you get rid of a rational exponent? Well, of course, we raise it up to the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of 2 over 3 is 3 over 2. Now, what I do to the left-hand side, I want to do to the right-hand side. And those reduce, and so we have x to the 1 is equal to 256 to the, and this is what trips students up a lot. The fraction is flipped. Notice that there's a 2 in the denominator. So we're not going to take the cube root, we're going to take the square root of 256. And then the 3 is in the numerator, so we're going to raise it to the third power. So understand that the order really matters. The square root of 256 is, of course, 16, and we have 16 cubed. And 16 cubed, I'm just going to go off of memory here, is going to be 4,096. So if I miscalculate that, just let me know in the comments, and I'll go ahead and change the video. But I believe 16 cubed is 4,096. All right? Hey, I hope that these two examples helped you out, and I'll catch you in our next video series.